It's the morning of April 15, 2002, about 5 o'clock in the morning. Irina, my daughter, is hugging me tight. I don't want you to leave. Again. Still holding her in my arms, I start crying, big tears coming out from my eyes. It's so painful. I don't want to leave either. I continue to cry, harder and harder, until suddenly I wake up, with real tears on my face. I continue to cry, deeply touched by such a vivid, emotional dream, hiding my face under the blanket to not wake up my roommate. I was in a hotel room, a balneology center where I came to heal my knee, dislocated in a ski accident last winter. These strong emotions bubbled up a thought. I have to continue my immigration process. I have to go to Canada to be closer to my children. And here I am, in a hotel room, not knowing if I will be able to walk again normally, but decided to continue my immigration process. The process I've started 2 years earlier, hoping that Canada will bring me closer to my children, which I was separated from 3 years earlier. I allowed them to see their father in States during the summer vacation, and he didn't allow them to come back to me in Romania. My daughter was devastated by this separation. She wanted to come back to me, as I found out later. All the time since they left, I had an inner knowing that I will be able to see them again one day. I started searching for information about Canada and the immigration process. After receiving the DCS, the document that was supposed to facilitate my immigration to Quebec, I put it aside, not having enough courage to make that huge leap. I kept myself busy, which helped to keep the pain away, the pain of not being close to my children. That vivid dream in the hotel room was my inner voice giving me a strong signal to continue the immigration process. It also gave me the strength and the courage to immigrate alone in a new country, Canada. And I followed through. Here I am now, September 2003, at Pearson Airport. So happy to get to see my children again. They come to welcome me. Tired of a long flight over the ocean, pushing a dolly with 2 huge luggages, I stepped out of the doors in the area where people are waiting. Looking around, moving slowly, I suddenly felt that someone was gazing at me from the side. I turned, and I finally recognized my children. I already passed them, ashamed. I turned toward them and hugged them. 5 years passed since I last saw them. They were 13 and 16 when they left. They are taller now. My son's face was easy to recognize, but I recognized my daughter only after she started talking. Her liveliness was still there. With bigger hair, longer hair, and a huge thick glasses, her face wasn't easy to recognize. She didn't wear glasses when she left Romania, and their father didn't send me any pictures all this time. I was so happy to see them again, and the fact they came to welcome me really warmed my heart. They stayed with me 3 days, only 3 days. When I got to be the child, they guided me into learning the ABC of this new world. How to push the yellow button when I cross the street, how to open a bank account and ask for a secured credit card. They even brought me food and other necessary things to live by for a few days until I get along with a new environment. We finally bridged the gap that separated us, and continue to build our relationship together on the new ground. The great relationship I had with my daughter seemed to continue the same way, even after all these years of separation. My son gave me great advice since. One of the things he told me was to always have money aside for at least 6 months in case something happens. And it did. On January 21st, 2012, just back from a 6-day visit to States to see my son's newly born baby, the manager gave me the big news. The government cut the funding for the program I've started 5 years earlier and developed since. Even more, he told me that I have 2 more days to come to work. And by then, he forced me to choose between 2 options. Either going in unemployment or taking over on someone else's position. That someone was a friend of mine who was going through such a tough time. She has 3 children. She was going through a tough divorce when the father didn't give them any money, and having only a work permit with a contract for this specific organization, while waiting for her permanent resident card to be processed. How could I send her on streets with 3 children? Torn between anger, being forced to make such decision, pity for myself, for not having money put aside to pay my bills, mortgage, and that, fear of leaping into unknown, eagerness to work on my business, which didn't grow enough all these years to sustain me full-time, and compassion for her situation, all kinds of thoughts start clouding my mind. What should I do? How can they give me only 2 days? How can I wrap up a 5 years program in 2 days? Close all the files, let participants know, pass all the files to my colleagues and processes in case they need later? How come another colleague that came only 6 months ago can stay and I have to leave after 5 years? Why do you let me go? I wanted to shout out. Why do they put such a bigger burden on my shoulders, while it's in their power to make that decision? How will I survive without money, but with all my monthly bills, payments for debt and mortgage? What should I choose? Yes, I wanted to have more time to grow my business. But how to grow a business when you have no income, bills, mortgage, and a debt to pay? Stressed out by this sudden burden, I asked to be off the rest of the day. I couldn't focus on work anyway. After almost 2 days of stress and worn out, I fall asleep, exhausted. 2 formless creatures start pulling me apart from the feet in 2 opposite directions. It's so painful. I need to make a decision right now. If not, I will be split into parts. With the urgency of such a decision to make, still feeling the pain deeply in my body, I woke up. Another vivid, painful dream. In that semi-conscious state, a thought bubbled up to the surface. I want to focus on my business. I want to bring system coaching into private companies to make them more human. That sudden thought brought with it such an inner peace. I knew it was the right decision. 3 years after coming to Canada, I decided to change my career from engineering to coaching, a profession that really resonated with me, which I've discovered in Canada. I knew for years that I don't get satisfaction from engineering. Also, my managers always appreciated my work. I immigrated to Canada, hoping for a change in both my personal and professional life. And with confidence, I start walking my new professional path. My son didn't like the idea of coaching, but I was really drawn into this profession. Another inner knowing that I can't explain. I took a lot of courses since I take this decision. Start on this path, start my own business in parallel, quit my engineering position and took another full-time job where I start using my newly acquired coaching skills. Fast forward 5 years, my business didn't grow enough to bring the income that I want, to pay the debt accumulated by putting the courses fees on credit cards. By then, I was still having the full-time job, not getting enough money to pay the minimal credit card payments, barely making meet ends from a month to another. That was my situation when I received the news about the program ending. Looking back from this present moment, I'm so grateful for my decision based on what I call my inner voice showing me the path. I've learned in time to listen it more often, not only in difficult situations. And its advice helped me to get out of that, focus on my business growth, and express myself in an artistic way. It even helped me to narrow my niche, now willing to help other introverts reconnect with their inner voice and follow through. Thank you.